sales team will never outperform a poor process. Doesn't matter how good the rep is, doesn't matter how hungry they are. In fact, over 75% of founders' first sales hires fail in the first year. And if you don't have a process before they walk in the door, you're setting yourself up for a very expensive lesson. I've hired and trained over 100 salespeople, and salespeople I've trained personally have generated over £185 million in revenue. And in this video, I'm going to show you step by step how I would build a sales team if I was starting from scratch in 2026. So if you're a founder who's hiring their first sales hire, or you're a person managing the sales team and looking to expand your team, then this is the video for you. Before I get into this video, if you are a founder doing the sales, or if you are managing the sales team and you would like me to diagnose your sales process for free, then click the link in the video, book a call. I will work with you personally to diagnose every potential bottleneck in your sales and marketing process. I'll do a full go-to-market workshop free of charge. We'll map out your entire sales process, identify the opportunities, identify which levers you can pull, and I will do that for free as long as you pass the qualifying criteria. So click on the link, book a call, and I'll see you there. So step one to building a sales team in 2026 is you need to dial in your process. Most founders skip this bit and go straight to the hiring bit and then wonder why they leave thousands. But if you can't document what should be happening at each stage, then A, you can't teach someone what to do, and B, you can't measure whether they're actually doing the thing that you need them to do at each particular point. You can't just assume that the rep will figure it out and just magically follow a perfect process. And much as you would like to think it would, no, your product doesn't sell itself. What a dialed in process looks like. You know how many leads will yield how many opportunities, which will yield how many closed deals. You'll be able to replicate that system, and then you'll know when you hand it over to a salesperson what they should be replicating. So if they aren't hitting the number of qualified opportunities, you know that they need more leads. And if they are getting the qualified opportunities but they're not closing the deals, then you need to know something in the sales process. You should know exactly what your metrics are before you hire anyone, and you should know what is being said or sent to the customer at each stage of the process to hit those metrics. Key thing to remember is that 75% of sales effectiveness is down to the process, 25% is the execution. You're not looking for a superstar. It's easy to be good at sales, really hard to be exceptional, but you don't need to be exceptional to have a really scalable sales outfit. A great system with an average rep will always beat a crappy system with a superstar rep. And it's infinitely easier to scale because you only need to hire average reps to make a superstar system effective. Whereas if you need superstar reps, you're going to have to pay a premium to get those in, and then they're not going to follow the process. And if they leave, it's going to take their process with them. Step two is you capture your founder's knowledge and expertise as content. So just do this. You write down the 5 to 10 questions that you find you answer on every single sales call, and you record video answers to those. It takes 2 minutes. You can do it on a Loom video, but you just walk them through. Next, you take the 5 to 10 objections you get on the sales calls and the reframe to those objections too. So you have content that is in the founder's words, capturing your founder's magic, answering all the common questions that your prospects have, and it's answering all their objections. So you have magically captured your founder's magic and expertise without your salesperson needing to do them. So when the prospects come on the calls, they'll have already seen videos of you walking them through the main aspects of your service. Genius. That means you don't have to be on the call, but the prospect gets the benefit of the founder's expertise, and it makes the prospect much further down the funnel so that by the time your salesperson speaks to them, they're already pretty much educated and your salesperson just needs to answer questions. Step 3 is you should automate the delivery of that content. So you should make sure that each prospect coming onto a call gets all of the FAQs and all of the potential objections, i.e. the reasons that they shouldn't do it, before they turn up onto a call with your prospect. Similarly, you should have automations to feed case studies. So case studies and testimonials, you should capture those as video, and you want to build an army of content that can be fired to your prospects at various times before they book the call. The more content and more time they spend with your brand before they speak to your salesperson, the less work that your salesperson has to do. You can use Any CRM automation has this in, whether it's HubSpot, Pipedrive, Go High Level. We use Go High Level because we like it and it's really simple, but you can use it with any CRM and they will give you the automations that you need to deliver the content. Step 4, you need to document the playbook. So every question that you ask, which will give you the information which you would need to write to a perfect proposal, should be documented. And in sales, there are questions that you have to ask to deliver, which will be technical information and things like that, which you would need, or an engineer would need to be able to deliver the product. But then there's the commercial questions. These should focus on why the prospect's doing, what else they've tried to solve this problem, what the potential objections are, why they need to take action, why they should do it with you, why they're keen to take action now. These are the sorts of questions. There's a full video that I've done on discovery process, which I'll link in the video here or out there, but click on that link if you want to go into full. But you should have a documented playbook, and then you should record yourself. Just a Loom video is fine, walking through that and telling them the reasons that you ask those questions. So when a salesperson comes in, they have that to train them, and then you can refer them back to that if they're not hitting the KPIs which you've measured and you've discussed in the first part of the video. Simple. Next is you should have the ability to score every part of the call. Now, this is something that we do with Sync Selling AI, but every sales call I have gets fed into the AI, which has the playbook, and then it marks how well I did this. It marks how well I did objection handling, how well I asked the questions, whether I asked the right questions at the right time, whether I closed well, and it gives me a mark out of 100. So I can clearly see if I did the right job at the right time on a particular sales call. And it'll also give me elements to work on that sales call. Now, we use this for all of our sales clients, but if you don't use that, you're not working with us yet, then you can use Fathom. It's like 10 quid a month, something like that, or $15 if you're in the US. And that will give you a general synopsis of how you did on the sales calls. But you should be able to take an objective view on every call. This is a thing where most people mess up, because they think that they just have a good call because the prospect liked them, rather than having a good call because they asked the right questions, and when they got an objection, they acknowledged it, walked the prospect through to reframe it, and then reclose. All of these sales activities need to be measured, and you need to be able to give your sales reps a quick feedback loop. If they get off the call and then they've got instant feedback about what they did well, what they should have asked, what they need to do better next time, it creates a really quick feedback loop, which means the rep behavior changes. They'll get better exponentially quicker than if you're just leaving them to their own devices. Also, it gives you areas where the reps need to improve. So if they're not hitting the KPIs that we talked about at the beginning of the call, you can go to the call reviews and say, oh, it's because you're not asking the right questions at discovery, so your proposals aren't landing. Look, this is the mark, it's really low. So even if you're not a sales expert, you can see exactly where the rep needs to work and get them to focus on that, even if you're not a skilled sales coach. Next is you need to hire for attitude and attributes, not experience. If you have a really good sales process, then you can hire at a much lower level, and you don't need to pay a premium for old reps with baggage who've come with preconceived ideas of what they want your organization and your sales process to look like. The trap that most founders fall into is they look for someone who's done it before, they look for someone with experience, and they think that experience is going to bring results. But the truth is, no good salesperson is looking for a job. Why? Because they're all earning really good commission. So if you see experienced salespeople who are looking for a job, often it's because they're not making good money. And if a salesperson isn't making good money, he's not very good. What you actually want is someone to come in who's hungry, coachable, has a growth mindset, is not going to be averse to getting feedback, and is willing to learn and improve and get better over time. That's much more important than someone coming in thinking is the bee's knees, and then you're struggling to battle to get them to fulfill a process that you know works. Two non-negotiables are that they should be absolutely coachable, and that the process is king. You can't have a player bigger than the process, otherwise you're never going to be able to scale. So once you've documented and you've got the process, you know it works, you've got all the content, it's really important that you need someone who's going to come in and follow that. And you say your job is to follow the process. If you follow the process, I don't care about the outputs. I just need you to follow this process. You need to switch what the salespeople is doing to following the process as their job, rather than having a good conversation or anything like that. When we scaled the Graduate Academy at Vocus, we went from 0 to £1.2 million a month revenue in less than 10 months. And we did that with graduate salespeople. They had no experience selling technical, complex sales to IT directors and CIOs. CIOs. They did that because they followed a process. We had a really robust process and we took them through a really good training program to be able to get them to be able to do it. We wouldn't have been able to do that if we'd have got people in and they didn't follow the process. And the next is you need to monitor and coach consistently. So you're getting objective feedback, you're feeding back to the rep, and then you are checking in with how they're doing and making sure that they're following the process and working on the things that they need to work on. And that's it. That's all I would do if I was hiring a salesperson. So to recap, you want to dial in your process before you put the advert out. Next, you want to capture your founders' assets as content, the common objections and the frequently asked questions. Then you want to automate the sequences so your prospects get that content before they get on a call with you. Then you want to document the playbook, make sure that the playbooks are out of your head. Write the script or the frameworks and the quick questions that you ask. There's a video to show you how to do that if you haven't clicked on it already, and then do a Loom video walkthrough, and that is your training content. Next is score every call, because if you can't score every call, you can't objectively see if the reps are getting better or worse. Next, hire for attitude, not experience, and then train and monitor and coach consistently so that the reps continue to get better. And that's it. The goal isn't to replace yourself in the sales process. The goal is to replicate your founder's magic and then build a sales process that enables other people who aren't you to still deliver the same amount of value, as long as their prospects are getting the content that you've created. Now, if you want to understand the exact dashboard and how we use AI tools to coach our reps and make sure that we're constantly getting better, then click on the link below. Pass a couple of qualification calls to make sure that we're going to be beneficial working together, and then you can go through to an initial consultation with me. We'll diagnose where the bottlenecks are, help you through your sales process, and show you how you can use AI tools to make sure that your reps are following process, that you aren't leaking deals, and making it easy for reps to get better following a process without you spending hours coaching them. And that's it. Any questions, let me know in the comments. Other than that, I'll see you in the next video.